It's my feel-good breakfast show.
So Father's Day is just around the corner, and it's important to remember that there are things that dads do differently to moms that can be very beneficial to children. To find out just what kind of role dads can play in their child's lives, we have creative parenting expert Nikki Bush joining us in studio this morning. Nikki, always lovely to see you. Always waiting to soak up your advice. Now,
Thanks, Ewan.
I'm glad we're talking about this. Dads, being put at the forefront. Father's Day coming up. But I think dads are usually criticized for not being able to multitask that well. And I can fully understand that. I don't multitask very well, but there's benefit in that to the kids.
Absolutely. So men and women are definitely wired differently, for sure. And women do multitask better than men. But as I always say to mums in my workshops, we need to learn something from the dads. With our juggling and multitasking, mothers find it difficult to be truly present. When I say present, it's when we're with our children physically, but we're also emotionally accessible. When dad comes home, he drops his computer bag at the door and he says, "I'm home." And
That's
he is.
it.
And he is.
And the attention is there.
And the attention is there. And if he does something, he does it absolutely with focus, but only one thing at a time. So when he's with the kids, he's with the kids, and they know it. And so I think we can take a leaf out of our spouses and partners' books and see how they do it so well. And the second thing is that guys have more physical strength than women.
It's the strong image that a dad portrays.
And kids need rough and tumble. The body is the architect of the brain. So movement helps wire the brain for academic learning later on. So, dads just do this stuff where, they pick the kids up and they throw them around and they've got them on their shoulders and they spin them around and they do somersaults through their arms. That kind of stuff is invaluable in your children's development. So rather than coming home and sloughing in front of the TV and watching sport, get active with your kids if you can, just for a couple of minutes before it's bath time and supper time and bedtime.
And on that note, that's a great encouragement for dads out there to stay fit and healthy as well.
100%. So role modeling is what you're bringing up here. And role modeling is a very, very big thing. We are bringing up a very visual generation. They take in more cues from what they see than from what they hear. So whatever we want them to do, we have to do ourselves. Otherwise, they will do exactly what they see. And if they see us lounging on the couch, watching sport for hours and hours on end, when mum says dinner time, if dad doesn't move, I promise you the kids don't either.
That's true.
I call it monkey see, monkey do. So, we need to role model what we want our kids to do. And a lot of mums do complain about the fact that they're trying to limit their kids' screen time. And yet, when dad's lying there for hours on end, how can you?
Exactly.
So that's a big thing. So very important that dad realizes the kids are watching and they're also listening.
I must just say as well, I did try and come to the party, to meet my wife halfway, to try and multitask, but it just doesn't happen, okay? So it doesn't happen, so try and stick to one thing. But it's nice to know that, that you are telling us that you guys can learn something from us, because I really take that seriously when it comes to my own child, and trying to be present, trying to, tumble him around, play with him whenever I get the chance, because I don't have a lot of time, just like a lot of dads in terms of work. But I want to ask you this: why do children play up to mum rather than dad? Because I see that with my boy, he runs to mum for everything and not me.
Because mothers have an overdeveloped guilt gland. Fathers have a much smaller guilt gland. So the minute they need to manipulate, they will try their mothers first.
Right.
And, it's quite a helpful thing to understand this concept, because many children, for example, when you drop them at school in those first few days or weeks of school, play up. Now, what we did in our home is we actually switched roles. And we started sending the kids to school with dad, not with me, and they were absolutely fine, because they know how to hit our hot buttons and how to make us feel guilty. And so when it's happening, have a look at why it's happening and maybe switch roles, because it can absolutely diffuse the situation completely.
Nikki, thank you so much. This was a lot of fun, just learning a little bit more about the role that dads play in children's lives.
Thanks, Ewan.
It was a lot of fun. All right, so celebrate this coming Father's Day by taking a look at the unique differences between moms and dads. And remember, it's not about competing with each other, but rather complementing each other on the parenting journey.